We all know the image of the Hollywood gladiator, that muscular hero, clad in shining armor, fighting for his freedom and honor under the Roman sun. We've been sold the idea of a noble warrior who chooses his own destiny. But what if I told you that the story you bought into at the movies is a convenient lie? What if the real gladiator wasn't a hero, but the product of the most technologically advanced and dehumanizing system of slavery the world has ever seen? Today, you're going to discover the truth hidden behind the red sand of the Ludus Magnus. And I warn you, when we finish, you'll never be able to look at a Roman movie the same way again, because what Rome did to these men is simply monstrous. The year is the height of the empire. In the slave markets of the Subura, love isn't the goal, and examination is the subject. Lanistas and doctors, trainers, walk among the rows of captives like cattle inspectors. They look for imperfections, a weak gaze, a wobbly leg, a spirit that still retains dignity. If a slave lacks the necessary metal to be a profitable investment, he is discarded into the oblivion of the mines. But if he passes the test, like our protagonist, his true hell has only just begun. There are no farewell embraces from his former life. Roman law erases your name and bestows infamy upon you. You have ceased to be human and become property.
Water cleanses the body, but not the soul.
We fight again tomorrow.
Today we rest.
Unlike any other soldier, the recruit enters the Ludus to be broken and rebuilt. Imagine this. Your head is shaved, and you are stripped of everything you own. Your only reality is the red sand. A ferrous sand that seeps into your lungs and grinds your skin with every fall. The training isn't friendly sparring, it's rhythmic torture. For months, your only enemy is the palus, an oak pole. You must strike it thousands of times a day, with a wooden sword that weighs twice as much as a real one. Do you know why? Because Rome wants your muscles to burn, your coordination to become mechanical, your mind to stop thinking and only react. If you show pain, the instructor's blows are worse the next day. You sleep on the ground, on dry straw that pricks your sweaty skin, listening to the screams of other men who, like you, are being molded into killing machines. And this is where our trademark comes in, the V scar on the left shoulder. It's not a medal, it's a physical reminder that the system has already started to eat away at your flesh. Hollywood would never show you what happens in the bowels of the Ludus before the first fight. There is a ritual that is the price of becoming a gladiator, the Sacramentum Gladiatorum. It is a mission of absolute coldness. In an underground sanctuary, surrounded by thick incense smoke and the cold gaze of a statue of Mars, the recruit must swear to let himself be burned, bound, beaten, and die by the iron. It is not a promise of freedom. It is a contract of legal suicide. We saw our protagonist drink the mixture of wine and ash, a communion with death that seals his fate. When the ceramic bowl shatters on the ground, his last connection to humanity is severed, And then comes the stigma, the incandescent iron that bites into his shoulder. That hiss of burning flesh is the sound of a society that values spectacle more than life. This is where historical propaganda has blatantly lied to you. They present the arena as a place of poetic justice, but the truth is much darker. The gladiator didn't fight for glory. He fought because the most brutal mafia of antiquity was pulling the strings. For every gladiator who achieved fame, there were thousands whose bodies were dragged on iron hooks to the spoliarium, stripped of their armor like peeling fruit. They lived in constant terror, overseen by the doctor, who wasn't a benevolent mentor, but the head of a martyr factory. Even the most famous battles were suicide missions, designed to reinforce the myth of Roman power. They needed glorious deaths to frighten the provinces, stories that said, "If this is what we do to our own slaves, imagine what we'll do to you." Let's talk about what they actually ate, because you need to understand the whole system. Forget the banquets. Gladiators were fed sagina, an infamous diet of crushed barley and beans. Sounds healthy? It's cheating. They did it to create a layer of subcutaneous fat. Rome didn't want quick fights, they wanted spectacle. The fat allowed for deep bloody cuts without immediately damaging vital organs. They wanted the man to keep fighting while bleeding out for the delight of the crowd. They were blood incubators in a soldier factory. Do you know why this system eventually collapsed? Because it was unsustainable. So much abuse, so much internal violence, and so many men dying for nothing ultimately drained the soul of the empire. The monsters Rome created to terrorize the world ended up devouring it from within. The next time you watch a gladiator movie and hear the clash of metal, remember this. That battle cry isn't a heroic moment. It's the cry of a man who never knew mercy, who was turned into a weapon from the day he was born. Was the gladiator a monster? Yes, but he was created by a monstrous system. And if there's one thing we should learn from this story, it's that strength without compassion isn't greatness. It's barbarism with better public relations.